Some of my friends have been asking, how do you write screenplays if you've never really written or even read that much, but you have a passion to write something? And I thought I would answer that question for you real quick. The first thing that I look for are characters, and I look for them in my own life. Now, I know some people will tell you never should never write about your own life, but for me, finding characters that are based in people that I grew up with or knew in my past gives me a sense of connection to the story that's going to unfold. And it's true that sometimes I have a story in mind. Like right now, I'm writing this ghost story based on the house that I grew up in. The house I grew up in was built in 1719 and was had a myth that it was a haunted house. And there's a lot of different stories as to why, but it was never really that haunted. But it gave me the idea, wouldn't it be interesting to revisit my old house in my mind growing up, and then um, utilize people from my past and kind of build characters out on them. One of the first things I did in this project was I put myself in the story, but I changed my name. And I also put in my first crush. Her name was Nisi, and I put her in there as well. And then I started populating it with other characters in my life. There's a character based loosely on my mom. There's a character based on my neighbor, and so forth. And then I began to put these characters in various conflicting situations. You know, I might have examined like a strange little story about the one time my mom made an oatmeal sandwich for me for school because I was late for the bus, and she put oatmeal on some bread, and that was what I had for breakfast. Just little stories like that I started putting together kind of as background to flesh out the main story. But even in Brides of Jesus, all those characters are really based upon me and other people that I knew. For instance, Cece, the young nun, kind of represents how I was in high school when I was seriously thinking about becoming a priest. I just changed the gender. There's another character in there based upon one of my old best friends, Sandra Beauregard, who I changed her name to Tigra, and so forth. And so if you're going to think about writing a story, I would start there. But don't let any facts get in the way of a good story. These are just launching points. They're not really, I'm not trying to tell a story of my life at all. I'm trying to just put myself into the story so that I can react accordingly to what happens, and also the characters that I know so well can react accordingly. But in the end, they very quickly take on a life of their own, and they start moving and reacting and obtaining objectives and goals based upon the situations that they're faced with. And hopefully it becomes more and more fictional so that I can escape the traps of my own characterizations. Good.